Hey guys, welcome back. Today's lesson is going to be a whole lot like yesterday's lesson. Let's start with our I can statement. I can compute percent increase and decrease problems. Okay, let's get started with some examples. So here on example 3 it says Frank's typing speed increased from 30 words per minute to 46 words per minute. What percent did Frank increase his typing speed? All right, we need to figure out what percent he increased his typing speed. So his typing speed went up. We know that from increase. We also know that because he started at 30 and he wound up at 46. So two different ways we can see it went up. The first thing we need to find is the amount it changed. So step 1, well, let's get a 1 in there. Find the change. Find the amount of change. Okay. So to find the amount of change here, let's take our 46 and subtract 30 from it. Like I said yesterday, it doesn't really matter which number you put first. You just want the final number to be a positive number. So here we're going to get 16. But if you did 30 minus 46, if you put that in your calculator, here, let me show you. If you did 30 minus 46, see how it gives you a negative 16? If that happens, you could either change the order so it gives you positive, or you can just write it down without the negative sign. Just make sure that this number is positive, and then you'll be good to go, okay? So step 1 is to find the amount of that change. So we found it here as 16. And then step 2 is going to be to write your equation to find the percent. Okay, so you can write it in English first if you want. At least think it in English. I'm going to write it in English. Okay, so what percent of the old number, we're not dealing with price right now, we're just dealing with numbers. So I'm going to say the old number is new number. So this is kind of like your formula. So I'm going to say what percent, I'll say P percent of, okay, now what's my old number? My old number is 30. Oh, this is wrong. I'm sorry. Hold on. What percent of the old number is not the new number? It's going to be the change. The change. Okay, sorry about that. You need to find out what percent of the old number is the change. And when I say the change, that's what you found in step number 1, okay? All right, so let's get back to it. P percent of the old number, which is 30, is, and now the change, that was 16. Let's put that there. So P percent of 30 is 16. Now remember, the of usually means to multiply. The is usually means equals. So I'm going to do P times 30. I'll just do it like this. Is 16. Okay, now we need to get that P by itself. So let's divide both sides by 30. And you're going to be left with P equals something. Let's find out on our calculators. Let's do 16 divided by 30. All right, 0.53 repeating. I'm just going to write that. You could write a few. At least do 5 decimal places when you write these. That way you have room to move the decimal and to round, okay? But because I have repeating, I can just do it like that. That works too. So now I have P equals 0.53. That P is there to remind me that I need to write this as a percent, so I'm not done yet until I move my decimal point. So it's going to go boom, boom, and it's going to wind up there, and you're going to have 53.33%. Okay, and then that is your final answer. Let's just look back and make sure this makes sense. So it increased from 30 to 46, and I'm saying something close to a 50% increase. So that means it should have added half. So let's see, half of 30 is 15. Add that to 30 and you would get 45, which is really close to 46. So this answer is definitely right. This looks good. It would probably be better if I had written increase there. So let me just make that little change. And then we're done with that one. Let's go on to example 4. All right, in example 4 it says Mr. B bought TNT stock at $30 per share, but he had to sell it at $19 per share. What percent of the value of the stock did Mr. B lose? Okay, so he bought it at $30 and then he sold it at $19. So did we have an increase or a decrease situation? This is a decrease, right? Because the price went down, which is not what you want when you're buying and selling stocks, right? You want your money to go up. So let me see, I'm trying to find this. Okay, so step 1 was to find the amount of change. Let's find the amount of change here. So I'm going to do 30 minus 19, And that is going to give me 11, right? Just double check. There we go, 11. So this is the amount of change right here. In step 2, I'm going to write the equation. So p% of, let's see, next I need to list the old number, which is 30, is, and then we're going to put the change last after that equal sign, okay? So the change here was 11. Let's put that there. All right, so there's my sentence. Let's make it into an equation. So p%, I'm going to do p, okay, of 30, that's going to be times 30, is 11, is going to be equals 11. And now we just got to solve the equation for p. So let's divide both sides by 30. You're going to get p is equal to 11 divided by 30. So that is going to be 0.36 repeating forever. Let's see, 0.36666. Like I said before, make sure you at least have 5 decimal places. If it's repeating, it's not as important because you know they're there, but you know, whatever makes sense to you. Now, am I done here? No, that p is there to remind me that I need to make this into a percent, so I better move that decimal place. Let's move it 2 spots. So you're going to wind up with 36.6. I need 1 more decimal place. And so it looks like the 6 here is going to bump that 6 up to a 7. So 36.67% decrease. And that is the answer to example 4. Okay, so now next we have just a little bit of a thought question. Let's read it together. Is it possible for a percent decrease to be more than 100%? Why or why not? Okay, is it possible for a percent decrease to be more than 100%? Well, let's do like a sample problem and think through this. What if you had 36 kids on your soccer team? That's actually a pretty big soccer team, isn't it? But we'll just go with it. 36 kids on your soccer team, or in your soccer league or whatever. So what if you had a 100% decrease in that? Well, okay, what's 100% of 36? Well, 100% of 36 is just going to be 36. You could do the math by doing 36 times 100%. Well, we need to move the decimal point to there. So basically that's 36 times 1. And what is 36 times 1? It's just 36. So in other words, 100% of 36 is 36. So for the decrease, you would have to say 36 is the old number. Now you're going to subtract your decrease, which you computed to be also 36, and you're going to be left with 0. So would it be possible to do like 150% decrease? Well, that would be an even bigger number, 36 times 1.5. The 1.5 is your 150%, okay? So what would that be? 36 times 1.5, 54. Okay, so that would be 54. Is it possible to start with 36 kids and lose 54 kids? No, that's not possible. You can't have negative kids, right? Or most of these other things that you're talking about with percents. So is it possible for the decrease to be more than 100%? The answer is no, it's not. And the reason is because you don't want to go below 0. Only if you were dealing with something where you could have negative numbers, like maybe altitude, then you would drop below sea level. That seems like it would be possible. Or like with money, sometimes you have money, but then you go into debt. Maybe that would be possible. Now, what about an increase? Could an increase be more than 100%? Yes, increase can be as much as you want it to be. There is no limit. So for increases, there is no limit. But for decrease, it can't be more than 100%. Okay, let's take just a quick glance at that assignment. This is going to be a lot like what we just did. This is a lot like yesterday's. And then these word problems are just a lot like what we just did. So I want you to work on this for about 30 minutes, like I always say. Make sure you do a good number of them. But if after 30 minutes you've only gotten halfway through this second page, it's really okay to stop. Do your best, think through everything, but don't be in a hurry and don't feel like it has to take you all day. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.